Kia ora guys, welcome back to the channel. Now, as you've already seen by the title, super exciting, we're going racing. That's right, we're taking the $100 disco and taking it ultra floor racing in a few months time. Obviously a lot has got to change, so we are going to be taking it from a $100 truck to a more race ready truggy style thing. So yeah, it's going to be super fun. As you guys know, we've already got a set of 36-inch super swampers for it. I've also picked up some safari axles. There's heaps happening to it, but today's job, we've got to get it all stripped out, cut a heap of weight out of it and chuck a roll cage in. So Matt's around here. He is on like almost no sleep, so he's doing well. But yeah, we're gonna get into it. So yeah, let's hit it. Basically building it into a truggy, but leaving the side panels on just to keep the cool bushwagon vibe that Matt so hates. But basically we're chopping the whole floor out, all that out, and then it's getting the fuel tank taken out, chopping the chassis rails up there, and then we're linking the rear, to extending the wheelbase to put the safari axles in, and doing a cat delete. Alright guys, well we've got this 40 litre fuel cell which is going to be going in, and we've got Callum making up a custom surge tank as well for the factory pump to drop into. So one of the next jobs is to get the fuel pump out so we can get that made up, so that we've got, you know, we'll be able to move the vehicle around by just running it from the surge tank for the time being, and then we can get this this fuel tank out, because yeah, we're not too keen on cutting out a floor with a fuel tank and fuel lines running straight under, so yeah. Yep. Alright guys, so that was us just depressurizing the fuel system, so we pulled the fuel pump relay, so now we're good to remove the tank. Probably need a screwdriver to pop this. Oh no. Guys, well the pump's out, so we're going to take that round to Callum sometime during the week and get a surge tank made up for that. So you should see that in the next episode, chucking the surge tank in. But yeah, next job is to drain the fuel tank or something and yeah, remove it. Hi! Truck's back on the ground, fuel tank's out. We've just removed a few lines and a bit of wiring so that when we go and chop the floor out it won't get cut. So we're about to get finally into the chopping up of this thing. So we'll be chopping out the floor. I forgot to mention we're stretching the wheelbase, so we've got to chop half of the inner guard out, and then round here the tyres rub real bad on here, so this has all got to get chopped out as well. So yeah, basically we're just losing a whole bunch of weight out of the truck, and yeah, what's going to happen is it's gonna get a tube rear end like a truggy. It'll just be really cool, so we'll get into that. Well guys, as you can see, the floor is now out. Next job is to start shortening the chassis and trimming this whole end section off. Just trying to rip as much weight out so that we can do the whole truggy style thing. And then yeah, we better start cutting out tubs as well. Then we'll mock up for putting the cage in. Sweet. So we'll just come back out, had dinner, and yeah, working away at getting those end caps cleaned up. They are a pig. There's just so many layers of metal all folded together and welded together, but just chipping away. We've got 2 angle grinders running, and yeah, the corners are slowly getting there. Alrighty guys, day 2, working on the $100 Disco Ultra 4 buggy thing, whatever it is. It's definitely not an Ultra 4 stage yet. Anyway, as you saw in those the last few teaser shots, there are a couple of little Easter eggs in there, so if you noticed those, good wee teaser for what's happening next video. Anyway, today's job, we've got basically keep on chopping stuff out. Didn't achieve much last weekend, unfortunately. It just took a long time. Anyway, I figured I might as well show you the cage, because I've been pottering around this morning, not achieving an awful lot, mostly just designing stuff in my head, but I did drag out the cage that's going in this. So here you can see we've got the other points are there, but it's a 8-point safety devices roll cage. I got it in a truck that I bought for $1,000 and parted it out for $1,200. So this roll cage adds $200 to the build budget, I guess, because you know, we made money on it and got a roll cage out of it, so that's a win. But it's a little bit fancy, to be honest, for what we're doing. It's it's safety devices, as I mentioned. There's a sticker, yeah, here we go. It's all FIA approved. Oh, will it focus on that for you? Here we are, so it's FIA approved. Probably a little bit fancy for what we're doing, but whatever. So yeah, a couple of jobs today. Just continued chopping stuff out. Gonna start ripping the rear suspension out and drive shaft, and I figure I might also mock up the cage, because I've been saying I'm gonna do it. So I've cleared all the parts out of the truck, so we might as well do that. Obviously, as you know, we are chopping out the back half of these guards so that we can get the wheelbase stretched out. So obviously that means that where this cage support here ties in is not going to be very strong. So while we are going to mount it into there, we'll also have cross braces coming down from up in that corner up there down to down to, well, this whole chassis has been cut out, but it will have cross brace come from here all the way down to the new tube chassis once that starts, whenever we begin that project. But yeah, for the time being, that's the main frame in. I'll just quickly mock up the front A-pillars and we'll go from there. Okay guys, well, I've got the cage basically as in as I can get it. Unfortunately, this cage came out of a pre-facelift Disco, which has a more tucked in dash, so this new one is fouling on this the dash here, which means I can't get this bar far enough forwards for the bolts to line up. So that's going to mean we're going to have to do a little bit of trimming of the dash, but we'll save that for another day. It's got it close enough to the point where I can mark out on the floor where I want to put the 250 by 250 cage pads, just so that I can meet the off-road New Zealand race book rules. So spreader plates will need to go on. I'll mark those out now, and then we'll start tearing other stuff out. Right, well there we are. Last of the grinding done for the wee bit. Next job is to start pulling stuff out, taking the rear suspension out. For those of you who don't know, because it's a while I've actually mentioned it on video, we're putting 36-inch Super Swampers on this truck and Safari axles, so Nissan Safari GQ axles. So you can see in this wonderful pile here, there's a wheel over there and a wheel there, and in between that there is a Safari axle. So you can see that I measured the track width. It's going to be about 2.05 meter wide, and the factory Land Rover is about 1.65. So you're going up. We're going to be about 400 mil wider. So it's going to be a wide truck. But yeah, probably next couple of videos you'll see us start fitting the Nissan Safari axles under the truck. But I'll quickly show you what I picked up last week. We got this here. So this is a Nissan Terrano 4.6 LSD. So basically will be locked, welded rear, shimmed LSD front with 4.6 gears all round. So 4.6 is about the correct ratio for if we're going to be going up to like 37s, 38s. So being on 36s will be slightly undergeared, which I actually like. We're slightly undergeared in Lando as well. It's got 4.1s and only on 33s, so it really drives nicely, and it just means you can just idle over tough stuff, and it makes the high range a little more usable on off-road as well. So that's the story there. So next video you'll probably see us start playing with the diffs, but yeah, for the time being we're just, as you can see, basically tearing this thing apart. So I'll continue and jack the truck up and start tearing the back end out of this. Oh, there we go. Oh guys, that was easy. And what makes it even easier is, you may remember a few videos ago we snapped a shock absorber off on the truck, and well, that's one less bolt to have to undo. we've got the truck all stripped out, springs out, released the top shock mounts, we've got the muffler out, drive shaft out, literally everything's been stripped out from the back, so we're all ready to start marking out for the chassis chop to make it into a true truggy. I've decided where we're going to chop is pretty much here and down, and same on that side, and then we're doing a then from there we're doing a full tube rear end. I've done a few drawings of ideas. I had a bit of a play this morning with a couple of measurements. Some of the ideas are going to work, some aren't. Basically we're going to have the shock sticking up through here, tying into the cage, which the cage has fallen over, but it'll all tie in. We're basically making it into a true truggy. So pretty cool, but we're keeping this panels on the truck for the time being, keep that bushwagon vibes going. Most people are probably going to hate it, the fact we haven't ute chopped it. One day I'm sure it will get a ute chop, but for the time being, stay in a bushwagon, but truggy bushwagon. Anyway, let's get marking out, and we'll do the final chassis chop. So I've gone and chopped it. There's only a tiny bit of material there and tiniest bit of material there. So after, I think I've done about 4 hours work today, we're ready to finally get rid of this last section of chassis. So I'll pop you down on the tripod and I'll see if we can get this remaining chassis rail off. There we have it, guys. The chassis, the chopper's done. Alrighty guys, well that's pretty much wrapped up all the work we're doing in this episode. That's pretty much the full teardown of the truck done. So before I wrap this video up though, I just wanted to quickly touch on basically what Ultra 4 is, for those of you who don't know, and why this truck's being built slightly different to other ones you may have seen. So obviously I'm from New Zealand, we're racing in New Zealand, in the New Zealand Ultra 4, or they call it the Enduro series, but it's basically the same. We're building this truck to the Winch Challenge specifications, so it's a different rule book. So for those of you watching overseas, like, oh, this and that you're doing doesn't match up to the Ultra 4 rule book, we're doing it a bit different because we're doing it to a different rule book. Basically the whole idea of this truck is I just want to have fun, want to build something and get some more experience fabricating stuff, making the stuff myself. So basically I'm building the truck for me and trying to make it suit somehow to get in the rules. But yeah, number one priority, build it for fun and for me. Number two, make sure that it can still race in the most wide open class. So that's the plan for that. As for what Ultra 4 really is, basically it's a cross between winch challenges and just general off-road racing. So you've got the more extreme challenges of like the winch challenge and that sort of stuff, obstacles that you can't necessarily drive, and then you've also obviously you've got everyone racing on the same track at once, and it's endurance. So they're generally about a two hour race, the one which we'll be competing in. And the big news, we have only got less than 2 months to get this thing done. It is currently the first weekend of September, and the race is in the first weekend of November. So yeah, 2 months to get it done. It's achievable-ish, I think. We'll be definitely pushing, especially considering there's more than just that thing to sort. We're also doing a couple of trips over the west coast in between, and there's the winch challenge in about a month's time, which I'll be out filming for. Unfortunately won't be racing, but I will be filming, so there'll be a full video on that. I've got a media pass, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, that's basically the full story with what's happening with this. So it's going to be a pretty cool truck. Sorry if this video wasn't quite so exciting as usual. I know it was just a lot of teardown, but you kind of have to get that done before the build can begin. So next few episodes, I don't know what order it'll be, but you'll see us put the cage in for good, start building the tube rear end, and mounting this suspension. Obviously we've got to build up the Nissan Safari axles, the GQ axles, and diffs, and we'll be chucking those in, get the fueling system all done, and yeah, then we'll be 3-linking it all, and it's going to get good real fast. I've just had a bunch of stuff turned up from the States, so plenty of parts are coming in. This thing's going to be a sweet rig, so I'll leave it there for the time being, but yeah, stay tuned for more. The build of this, all the trips coming up, coast trips, it's going to be sweet. As I say, there's heaps coming. Thank you all for watching, really appreciate it, and yeah, if you've enjoyed it, give us a like, subscribe, and yeah, I will catch you all in the next one. Cheers guys, see ya.